Donald Trump was right about everything. Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Before we get into our lead story, please take a moment right now to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support the channel. And with that being said, our story of the day comes from our friends over at the Daily Wire. If you're not already a member over there, please go over and become a subscriber today. It is written by Ryan Saavedra, and he titles it, Inspector General Debunks Claims Made by Biden-Harris Left-Wing Media Against Trump. So Trump was right about everything. The guy called out the fake news. Fake news, it's gross, it's disgusting, excuse me, it's gross, you're filthy, you're not a network, you never were, you're sick. He was spot on about everything, and we love Trump, we miss Trump, we want Trump, America needs Trump. The U.S. Department of the Interior Inspector General debunked claims made by then-Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden, his eventual running mate Kamala Harris, and left-wing media last year about federal law enforcement's response to a violent riot in Washington, D.C. by far-left activists. The events in question surround violence from the far left in the nation's capital at the end of May and beginning of June in 2020, specifically around President Donald Trump's visit to a church that had been set on fire. So if you kind of remember, in Lafayette Square, the police cleared it out during all these BLM Antifa protests going on, just lighting buildings on fire left and right, destroying public and private property. We're not going to focus on that being the news. What the left-wing media is going to focus on is Trump supposedly clearing out Lafayette Square, which we're finding out now when he said, "I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. You're fake news." Fact is, he was right. It is fake news. And now the media is going, oops. Yeah, no, you guys don't follow through with your crap. You should have done inspective journalism like what was happening here through the Inspector General coming out and saying, look, it wasn't Trump. You guys should have done your damn job, and you continually don't do it. You hear a story regardless of who said it, and you go, sounds good, goes against Trump, let's run it, let's roll it. You got any feedback on that? You got any good sources? Nope. Okay, well, we're still going to run it anyways. That's how the left-wing media runs everything in 2020, 2021. The events in question surround violence from the far left in the nation's capital at the end of May, beginning in June 2020. So that's important because as we're going to see, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden were the ones that were spreading this propaganda machine news that he was the one that was doing all this. Police in Washington, D.C. used tear gas and rubber bullets on peaceful protesters to clear them away from St. John's Church, which suffered a small fire Sunday night near the White House, NPR tweeted on June 1st. President Trump then walked to the church for a photo op. Biden responded to NPR's tweet by claiming he's using the American military against the American people. He tear-gassed peaceful protesters and fired rubber bullets for a photo. For our children, for our very soul of our country, we must defeat him. But I mean it when I say this, we can only do it together. However, the DOI's Inspector General released a report on Wednesday that stated that Trump's visit to the church had nothing to do with why the rioters were cleared out of the area. Here's what the report says. The report presents a thorough independent investigation of that evidence to assess the U.S. Park Police's decision making and operations, including a detailed timeline of relevant actions and an analysis of whether the USPP's action complied with governing policies. The evidence we reviewed showed that the USPP cleared the park to allow a contractor to safely install an anti-scale fencing in response to the destruction of federal property and injury to officers that occurred on May 30th and May 31st. Moreover, the evidence established that relevant USPP officials had made more of those decisions and had begun implementing the operational plan several hours before they knew a potential presidential visit to the park, which occurred later that day. As such, we determined that the evidence did not support a finding that the USPP cleared the park on June 1st, 2020, so that President Trump could enter the park. So basically what happened was there's a lot of riots happening, a lot of people acting chaotic, destroying public and private property, hence lighting a damn church on fire. Like, who the hell would do that? So then you had the people come and say, hey, we need to put up anti-scale fencing around. And then what supposedly happened was AG Barr came in and went up to an officer, and I believe that part's even on tape, and said, hey, we have the president that's going to come in a little bit. He's going to take a photo op. Can you maybe hurry up this scaling and this fencing so he can come in and take a photo? What the media did was just spun the whole story, didn't even look at that, didn't talk to anybody, just said, oh, Trump cleared out everybody so he can have a photo op so they could spread fake news about President Trump. And proof's in the pudding here. Let's look at our current president, Joe Biden, see what he had to say on exactly June 1st, 2020. He's using the American military against the American people. He got tear gassed peaceful protesters and fired rubber bullets for a photo. For our children, for the very soul of our country, we must defeat him. But I mean it when I say this, we can only do it together. Furthermore, Kamala Harris, our vice president, went on to say this on June 1st. Donald Trump just tear-gassed peaceful protesters for a photo op. We also have others like CNN fact checker Daniel Dale, who also made claims about the events of the day. Vander Van falsely claims the clearing of Lafayette Square last June happened to establish an appropriate security perimeter from a riotous mob. No, they cleared peaceful protesters out of the way for a Trump photo op. The narrative is correct. And it keeps going. We have the New York Times saying protesters dispersed with tear gas so Trump could pose at church. Trump responded to the report saying in a statement, "Thank you to the Department of Interior Inspector General for completely and totally exonerating me in clearing of Lafayette Park. As we have said all along, and it was backed up in today's highly detailed and professionally written report, our fine park police made the decision to clear the park to allow a contractor to safely install anti-scale fencing to protect from Antifa rioters, radical BLM protesters, and other violent demonstrators who are causing chaos and death in our cities. In this instance, they tried burning down the church the day before the clearing. Fortunately, we were there to stop the fire from spreading beyond the basement, and it was our great honor and privilege to do so. Again, thank you to the Inspector General." And you know what? Thank you to Mr. Trump for always proving and always showing that the mainstream media is out there to push propaganda. And we saw that from CNN's technical director, Charlie Chester, saying, "Fear sells. We got Trump out of office. We are a propaganda machine." So you're not just taking it from Donald Trump here that there's fake news, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's sick, and I hate it. What we did for Lafayette Park was massive, beautiful, big. But what you have Charlie Chester and CNN, MSNBC doing, the New York Times is all pushing propaganda, all pushing fake news. And look, it's continually happening, and it's now all coming out now that Trump's not in office, all the wrongs that the mainstream media were doing, all the wrongs that Kamala Harris are doing, all the wrongs that Joe Biden are doing by reversing everything that Trump did. And that's why inflation's up. That's why you have illegal immigration up. That's why you have taxes up. That's why nobody's going back to work because the federal government wants to subsidize everybody living at home and staying at home and not getting a job. All this stuff is happening all when Joe Biden enters in office. You can't put the blame on Trump on all this stuff because, again, it all started coming back now from when Obama was on office. Trump eradicated all of it, and now it's back when you have Kamala Harris and Joe Biden running things. I mean, hell, Joe Biden just said today that he keeps forgetting that he's president.
I keep forgetting I'm president.
It's only supporting what we're doing. The guy doesn't know who he is, okay? He doesn't know who he is. So I'm working on the Trump impression, folks. Thank you so much for joining the Bald Brad Show today. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Share it all over social media, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, everything of the sort. And I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show.